Barnes Proverbs 1:1. Introduction to Proverbs. 1. The opening words of the book Proverbs 1:1 give us its current Hebrew title, of which the first word has been adopted by translators, and Proverbs has become the common heading of the book in the Septuagint, the Vulgate, and the King James Version. At one time a title of honor, the Book of Wisdom, or the All Excellent Wisdom, was applied by both Jews and Christians to this book, indicating that the book took its place, as the representative of the wisdom of which the Hebrews thought so much, at the head of the whole class of books, canonical or apocryphal, which were known as sapiential. The Hebrew word for proverb, mashal, has a much more definite significance than the Greek paroimia, and the Latin proverbium. Its root meaning is that of comparison, the putting of this and that together, noting likeness in things unlike. It corresponds to the Greek parable rather than paroimia. That it was applied also to moral apothegms of varying length, pointed and pithy in their form, even though there might be no similitude, is evident enough throughout the book. Proverbs are characteristic of a comparatively early stage in the mental growth of most nations. A single startling or humorous fact serving as the type of all similar facts e.g., 1 Samuel 10:12, the mere result of an induction to which other instances may be referred e.g., 1 Samuel 24:13, a law, with or without a similitude, or explaining in this manner the course of events in the lives of men or in the history of their nation Jeremiah 31:29. Ezekiel 18:2, refs 2. These things furnish proverbs found in the history of all nations, generally in its earlier stages. There is little or no record of their birth. No one knows their author. They find acceptance with people from their inherent truth or semblance of truth. Afterward, commonly at a much later period, people make collections of them. 2. The Book of Proverbs, however, is not such a collection. So far as it includes what had previously been current and familiar sayings, there was a process of selection, guided by a distinct didactic aim, excluding all that were local, personal, or simply humorous, and receiving those which fell in with the ethical purpose of the teacher. As in the history of other nations, so among the Hebrews compare 1 Kings 4:31. There rose up, at a certain stage of culture, those to whom the proverb was the most natural mode of utterance, who embodied in it all that they had observed or thought out as to the phenomena of nature or of human life. So preeminently was the sage to whose authorship the book of Proverbs is assigned, Solomon, the son of David. The definite precision of 1 Kings 4:32 leads to the inference that there was at the time when that book was written a known collection of sayings ascribed to Solomon far longer than the present book, and of songs which are almost, or altogether, lost to us. The scope of that collection may probably have included a far wider range of subjects, such as trees, creatures, etc., than the present book, which is from first to last ethical in its scope, deals but sparingly, through the larger portion of its contents, with the world of animals and plants, and has nothing that takes the form of fable. 3. The structure of the book shows, however, that it is a compilation from different sources as well as a selection from the sayings of one man only, and a compilation which, in its present form, was made some 3 centuries after the time of Solomon. One considerable section of the book consists of proverbs that were first arranged and written out under Hezekiah. Proverbs 25:1. Agur Proverbs 30:1, and Lemuel Proverbs 31:1, are named as the authors of the last 2 chapters. The book is, therefore, analogous in its composition to the Psalms. It is an anthology from the sayings of the sages of Israel, taking its name from him who was the chiefest of them, just as the book of Psalms is an anthology from the hymns not only of David, but also of the sons of Korah and others. Proverbs 1. The Proverbs of Solomon the son of David, king of Israel. To know wisdom and instruction, to perceive the words of understanding. To receive the instruction of wisdom, justice, and judgment, and equity. To give subtlety to the simple, to the young man knowledge and discretion. A wise man will hear, and will increase learning, and a man of understanding shall attain unto wise counsels. To understand a proverb, and the interpretation, the words of the wise, and their dark sayings. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge, but fools despise wisdom and instruction.
So I say this with all due respect, that all that, the gematria or count letters or hyphening, all that stuff, that's just a waste of time. You're just wasting your time, guys. Yeah, that number stuff where you're like adding 22 to another number, and it means that. It says it right there in Proverbs. He's going to teach you how to do it. Solomon himself, in written form, he's going to teach you how to understand what you're reading. That's why he was meant to do that. He was meant to make the book so people could understand what they're reading or what it was on the scrolls. When Solomon built the temple, he built something in this book. Inside, there's something inside, or you can walk inside of something. Walk in the statues, the parables. The whole book is a parable. And that's why the people are misinterpreting and using wrong ways to see the scriptures. It's like a human being. Do you judge a human being by the outside appearance or the inside? Wait. Tell one of your friends, think of a number, but don't have them say it. And then, can you use gematria to figure out the number? How are you going to figure out what number is in his head? How? How are you going to do that? How can you do that? unless you know his favorite number. If you knew it or somebody knows it and they tell you, right? How are you going to get that out of him? How are you going to get the answer out of Torah? What you need, and it has nothing to do with numbers, or else the number thing would be all up in the book. Again, Daniel would be like, "Oh, you got a 22. Well, we count those letters and then add them up to 14, and that equals 613 commandments." Can you believe it? Can you believe? Like, where does that come from? And who does this? And who invented this? I mean, come on, guys, use your brains. I mean, did Ezekiel do that? Well, let's count the numbers. Let's do that and do that. I mean, come on, guys. Come on. I mean, what has it gotten you this far, gematria?